Assalamualaikum. We are from Group 5. We will be present on uh, phosphor ERK2 bound to bivalent inhibitor SBP2 protein. Okay, this is our team members, which is Filza Amira, Nur Ashikin binti Muhammad Rasul, and me, Nurul Ain Syafiqah binti Muhammad Khori. Okay, for executive summary, this report provides a bioinformatic analysis of protein name phosphor ER2 bound to bivalent inhibitor SBP2, which is the PDB ID is 5V61. The meta-analysis is by using bioinformatic tools such as PDB, which is Protein Data Bank, Compute PI, Peptide Mass, ProParam to verify the primary sequence. For secondary sequence analysis, the tools used to predict the protein are JPRED server, SOPMA server, and GOR4 server. For multiple sequences analysis, the UniProt is used to predict 10 protein sequences that closely related to protein 5V61. While for the 3D model structure of 5V61, from reviewed protein, superimposed with unreviewed protein is analyzed by using Palmer software. Then, the result of the characteristic of 5V61 protein from the physiochemical tools is analyzed and concluded. The result of the data shows the homology modeling from the validation is accurate and is important before analyze the 3D model structure. In conclusion, many tools that we need to use to analyze the protein so that we can know the protein sequence and structure identity and its function deeply. Okay, for the recommendation is to improve the physicochemical tools that the information can be more accurate. For the interaction, the estimated 60,006,520 American will die from the cancer in 2020, corresponding to more than 1,600 deaths per day. It is taken from the Siegel research from 2020. ERK is an effector kinase that used in oncology, which promotes cell transformation and malignancy in cancer. ERK2 is a serine threonine kinase that it will be act as a component of MAP kinase transduction pathway. The ERK also important in initiation and regulation of mitosis, and to differentiate any cell that related to cancer cell by phosphorylating a transcription factor. ERK inhibitor usually combine the small molecule inhibitor to the ATP binding pocket. Bivalent inhibitor shows the binding of ERK markedly improve potency compare bind to a small molecule alone. ERK inhibitor may be used in combination therapies that could further delay the onset of resistance, and in some cases, it will reduce the toxicity. Chemotherapy and radiation work by inducing apoptosis, and phospho-ERK constitute an important regulator of this event. The interesting about this protein that the phospho-ERK scores could be used to stratify high-risk patient in cancer stage 3 into a post or to the better stage. The recent data from the bioinformatic tools can give and increase the knowledge about the cancer related to the inhibitor. The information in the bioinformatic tools is modified and keeps updated to improve its performance and lead to more accurate prediction of protein functionality. As a student, we can also make a research about the protein without making a research in the lab. We choose this protein because this protein can decrease cancer death and increasing the number of people who have cancer to live longer. Okay, this is a reference.
Okay, Assalamualaikum. My name is Nur Ashikin. I will proceed with the next slide, which is the primary sequence. So this one is the primary sequence that we get from the PDB file in the FASTA format. So to elaborate more, we have used three tools, which is Compute PI, Peptide Mass, and ProParam to find the physiochemical properties of a protein using the primary sequence. So I forgot to label. So this one is the result for the compute PI. The middle one is for the peptide mass, and the third one is for the prop param. So both three tools are able to found 384,384, the number of amino acid composition, and the isoelectric point is 9.03, which means that it is alkaline in nature. And however, for the stability, the param only can be used for the finding of the stability, which the instability index is computed to be 48.25, which means that it classifies the protein as unstable. So the molecular weight is about 44541.46 Dalton or 44 kilodalton. And for the aliphatic index, the proparam also the only tools that can be found to estimate the aliphatic index, which is around 93.72. So next is the secondary structure prediction. So the secondary structure prediction is a technique in biotools that aim to predict the secondary structure and predict the function of protein and nucleic acid sequence based on the knowledge of the primary sequence. So for the secondary structure prediction, we have used three tools, which is Cheprate, SOPMA, and also GOR4. So based on the Cheprate tools, it has been found that the highest percentage found using this software is alpha helix at 35.1%, followed by beta strand, which is 14.7%, and then 310 helix, which is 6.6%, and others are 43.7%. And next is for the SUGMA, where from the result it has shown that the alpha helix was predominant, which is 46.61%, and followed by COS, which is 33.85%, and extended strand, which is 13.8%, and beta strand, which is 5.73%. And lastly, for the prediction using Gore-4 method, it was observed that the random coil was predominant, which is 46.35%, followed by alpha helix, which is 38.02%, and extended strand, which is 15.62%, and other secondary structure like 310 helices, 5 helix, beta bridge, and also band region are absent. So the recent study has shown that between these three tools, the Jeprate tools are the most accurate tools because it can predict about 82.0% of three-state alpha helix, beta strand, coil, and coil for secondary structure prediction. While for the SOPMA, it only can predict approximately around 69.5%, as well as the core 4, which only can predict about the accuracy about 69%. So this one is the summary that has been shown in the table by the comparison of the secondary structure prediction between Chiplet, SOPMA, and Core 4 server, as I mentioned just now. So the Jeopardy also able to predict the presence of coil-core region with a blind three-state secondary structure prediction accuracy with 82.0%, while SOPMA approximately 69% of amino acids, and the core method is about 55% to 64.4%. And this also, the golf was also able to predict approximately 96, 60, and this software also able to predict about 69% of amino acids for three-step accuracy secondary structure, alpha helix, beta sheet, and coil. So next is for the multiple sequence alignment. For multiple sequence alignment, it is a tool that is run using alignment of three or more nucleic acid sequence of similar length, where in this study we have used UniProt software tools, as the purpose of these tools is to study the genes of protein that is closely related to each other to find evolutionary relationship between genes and estimate the shared pattern among closely related genes. So in this study, we also aligned 10 sequences with different organisms to measure how closely related of this protein with each other. So based on the known literature, result has shown in the region of is result have shown that the region of the active site and conserved motif and domain, they align at the same region that are present in the protein sequence. So this one is the figure that shows the result of the multiple sequence alignment of 10 different organisms, which they highlight in a binding site, and the active site. So the red one is for the red one is for the active site, the green one is for the binding site, and the purple one is the DNA binding. So next is for the figures that shows the result of multiple sequence alignment of 10 different organisms that highlight the domain, which is the yellow one, the motif, which is the red one, and the nucleotide binding, which is the blue one.
Hello, Assalamualaikum to Dr. Huzah. My name is Ruby Samir Hamid Asmi from Group 5. And today I'll be explaining about the verification and validation of our protein named 5V61, which is the HIV P80 protein type. Okay, for the verification and validation, we use homology technique and grading technique. For homology, we use Swiss model, and for grading, we use Pivot2. Then we use verification software to validate the top three models obtained from Swiss model and Pivot2, such as Verify3D, Arab plot, and MorphoBT. From the MorphoBT, we can get the Machandran plot. Okay, for the homology, we use Swiss model software, and the image here shows the result of the top three model obtained from the Swiss model. After obtaining this top three model, we validate it using the three softwares, which is Verify3D, Arab plot, and MorphoBT. The first software is Verify3D, and for the 5V61 model 1, the status shows pass, which is 69.21% of the residue have average 3D1D score that is more or equal than 0.2. Okay, at least 80% of the amino acid have this score. Okay, this result tell us that the model is very good and excellent. Okay, for the 5V61 model 2, the status also pass, which is 89.31% of the residue have average 3D1D score, which is more than or equal to 0.2. Which is also this result is moderately good and excellent. Okay, for the 5V61 model 3, the status also pass, which is 89.11% of the residue have average 3D1D score that is more or equal than 0.2. Okay, from our results for the three of the model above, model 1 exhibit the best quality model compared to the others because it have the highest residue, which is 96.31%. Okay, moving on to the second software, which is Array. For the 5V61 model 1, the quality factor that have been obtained from this model is 97.546, which tells us that the result is very good and excellent. And it also tells us that it have this model have a good high resolution structure that generally produce values around 95% or higher. 5V61 model 2, the quality factor that is 90.7643, which tells us that the result is good and excellent. It also have good high resolution structure that generally produce value around 95%. Okay, and for the 5V61 model 3, quality factor is 88.8889, which tells us that the result is good and excellent. Okay, it also have good high resolution structure that generally produce values around 95% or higher. Okay, in conclusion, from overall result obtained from Arab plot for three of the model above, model 1 exhibit the best quality model compared to the others because it have the highest model quality factor, which is 97.546, compared to model 2, which is 90.7643, and model 3, which is 88.8889. Okay, for the last software, the third software, we use MorphoBT Children. plot. We 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 can obtain a material plot from this software. Okay, for the 5V61 model 1, overall the result is very good and excellent because the quality factor obtained are above than 90% and nearer to 100%. Okay, that is 96.8% from 330 per 341 of all residue were in favored 98% region, and that is 98.8% from 337 per 341 of all residue were in allow more than 99.8% region. Okay, there were 4 outliers of 5 MSI, which is 13 glutamine, 54 proline, 197 asparagine, and 225 proline. For the 5361 model 2, overall the result is moderately good and excellent because the quality factor obtained are above than 85% and nearer to 95%. That is 92.2% from the 317 per 344 of all residue were in favored 98% region, and that is 98.5% of all residue were in allow 99.8% region. There were 5 outliers of 5 MSI, which is 10 valine, 54 proline, 179 phenylalanine, 185 alanine, and 327 phenylalanine. Lastly, for 5V61 model 3, overall the result is good and excellent because the quality factor obtained are above than 85% and nearer to 90%. There is 93.4% from 324 of all residue in favored 98% region, and there is 98.3% from 341 of all residue in allow more than 99.8% region. There were 6 outliers, which is 225 proline and here you can see from here. Okay, from the overall the results obtained from a macam plot. Model 1 exhibit the best quality model compared to the others because it proven to have the highest residue where 96.8% of all residue were in favour 98% region and 98.8% of all residue were in allow more than 99.8% region compared to model 2 and model 3. Okay, from a material result also, it shown that it have 4 outliers compared to model 2 and 3 with 5 and 6 outliers. The less outlier lead to the best data processing and finally the best quality model were obtained. Because the less outlier means that the error of the data processing is also less. So it leads to the best quality model. Okay, moving on to our second software, which is trading. We use Spiral 2 software, and from this image, it shown that results. It shown the results of the top 3 model obtained from the Spiral 2, and the method is the same as previous homology technique. We use verify 3D array plot and morphobity. For the verify 3D, for our model 1, the status is passed, which is 99.42% of the residue has the average score. And for the 5V61 model 2, also passed because it has 95.06% of the residue have average score. And for the 5V61 model 3, okay, the status is fail because only the 75.35% of the residue have average score. Okay, from overall result for 3 of the model above, model 1 exhibit the best quality model compared to the others because it have the highest residue, which is 96.21%. The second software, which is error. Okay, for the 5V61 model 1, quality factor obtained is at 39.2857, which tell us that the result is very good and excellent. Okay, and for the 5V61 model 2, the quality factor obtained is at 86.1.0119, which tell us that the result is moderately good and excellent. And for the 5V61 model 3, quality factor obtained is 67.5362, which tell us that the result is not quite good because it is below than 85%. From overall result obtained from error plot for the 3 of the model above, model 1 exhibit the best quality model compared to the others because it have the highest model quality factor, which is 89.2857 compared to model 2, which is 86.0119, and model 3, which is 67.5362. Okay, for the last software, for the morphobity macam gen, for the model 1, overall the result is very good and excellent because the quality factor obtained are above than 90% and nearly 200%. There is 94.2% from the 322 of all residue in favor 98% region, and there is 99.4% from the 340 of all residue in allow more than 99.8% region. There were only two outlier, which is 32 tyrosine and 331 leucine. For the 5B61 model 2, overall the result is moderately good and excellent because the quality factor obtained are above the 95% and nearer to 95%. There is 95.9% from the 328 of all residue were in flavor and 98% region, and there is 99.7% from 341 of all residue were in a low, more than 99.8% region. There were only one outlier, which is the 339 leucine. For the last model 3, overall the result is good and excellent because the quality factor obtained are above the 85% and nearer to 9%. There is 93.4% of all residue in favour 98% region, and there is 97.4% of all residue in allow 99.8% region. There were none outlier, which is as shown in the slide. Okay, for the overall result obtained from a macam plot, model 1 exhibit the best quality model compared to the others because it proven to have the highest residue where 94.2% of all residue in favour 98.98% region, and 99.4% of all residue were in allow 99.8% region compared to model 2 and model 3. For macam the result also shown to have two outlier compared to model 2 and 3 with 1 and 9 outlier. Less outlier lead to the best data processing and finally the best quality model were obtained. Okay, from the two software that have been used, which is homology and trading, it's shown that model 1 is shown for the both of the software that model 1 exhibit the best quality model to be used as the ideal quality model. Okay, that's all from me. Thank you.
So for the generation of 3D structure, we have used two models, where the first model is we get from the homology modeling for unreviewed structure of protein sequence, and where this one is for the reviewed structure that we get from the UniProt result, which is we use 5V61 PDBID. So this one is for the important region for the template of 5V61 that we get from the UniProt, so that we can highlight this important region at the 3D modeling. So this one is the figure that shows the superimpose of 3D structure of protein sequence analyzed using PIMO software between reviewed structure of PDBID 5V61, which is the green color, and unreviewed structure which is the yellow color. While this figure also shows the superimpose of 3D structure of protein sequence analyzed using PIMO software between reviewed structure of PDBID 5B61 and unreviewed structure, where the label in the red color shows the comparison of the important region between reviewed, which is the green color, and unreviewed structure, which is the yellow color, that have been found in this structure. So this one is the close-up picture, which is for the first one. The figure has shows the amino acid residue, which is the proline at the template 5B61, the green color at position 11 that act as site that essential for that translocation to the endosomal membrane that associate at the loop structure. And the rest has shows the site for the metal binding of zinc, as shown in the picture. This one, which is the glutamic acid at site of 33, which act as a metal binding site for zinc, and the rest also shows the metal binding site for zinc. So that's all from me. And the next slide, I will pass to Ain Shafiqah for the next part.
For finest characterization of protein structure, the physicochemical composition of protein 5V61 was analyzed by using compute PI, peptide mass, and prop-param analysis, which these three tools can be performed using an SPS server. Based on the results, protein 5V61 gives the same output, which shown that this protein contains 384 amino acids with a molecular weight of 44541.46 dalton, which is 44 kDa. As for the instability index, it has computed to be 48.25 using prop-param tools that classify the 5V61 protein is unstable. This is because The aliphatic index is 93.72, which is high value. And on the basis theoretical PI, all of these tools give a value of 9.03, which indicate the protein is alkaline, is alkalic in nature. While from the protein calculator V3.4, the estimated charge at pH 7 of the protein is 11.9. Melting temperature prediction of 5V61 protein from the TM predictor tools is lower than 55 degrees Celsius due to TM index is lower than 1, which is at negative 0.46. The characteristic of the protein is important, so we can know how to control, what the effect, how protein works, and how to modify the index. That's all from us. Thank you.